Well, Nikki, thank you so much for agreeing to being interviewed today as my Ask the Expert.
You're welcome.
Um, can you tell us a little bit about your expertise in real estate and with seniors?
Sure. Thanks, Catherine. I appreciate you doing this. This is fun. I don't get to do video interviews very often. They're usually on the phone, so this is a new one for me. I'm outside my comfort zone a little bit. So my background in real estate is I started selling real estate when I was 21 years old, so 1991, and sold real estate for about 5 or 6 years before starting to work with my husband currently. We started working in real estate together in 95, I guess. I was trying to think dates. So in about 2000, we went through a total revamp and reinvented ourselves and started focusing on seniors. And I have a degree in gerontology and a counseling degree, and I worked with a lot of seniors in nursing homes and in, well, lots of different places. That's a long story. And so as a result, it was kind of a natural fit for us to do that. And so we built our real estate team really from about 2000 through when we sold it in 2005, working with about 60% of our clients were average age of 83.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a big part of our business. And most of them were downsizing. Most of them were moving into senior communities, and then there was the number of them as well that downsized into something more manageable, like cottages or condos, smaller single-family home.
Mm-hmm. Well, very good. And now you and your husband have a senior real estate designation course that you teach, and can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this last year we founded the Seniors Real Estate Institute, which we're very excited about. And I have been anti-designation my whole career because I just haven't seen the need for it. A lot of people have designations, and I think that's great, but I've just never felt like that was important to me. But I had a lot of people going through our classes who were pushing me to create a designation. So we did. It's called the Certified Senior Housing Professional, and it's not easy to get. It's not something everyone will want to get, and we really wanted to. There's the other designation that NAR endorses, which is the Seniors Real Estate Specialist designation, which is great. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have gotten it. But a lot of people have also gotten it for the reason of not necessarily for working with seniors in their business. They've gotten it for, furthering their education, but not necessarily because they want to specialize. And this designation is really only designed for those people who want to create their business working with seniors.
Okay.
We teach some other classes for people who want to just grow and learn more about working with seniors, but our designation class really is for those people serious about building a business around it.
Okay. Well, that's a very interesting point of difference. So what are some of the top concerns for seniors in maybe thinking about when is the right time to sell the house that we're in now?
Sure. Well, first of all, let's define senior, right?
Okay.
Because, even if you look at the age group of what you would call a senior, some people consider themselves a senior at 50, some people consider themselves a senior at 60, 65, and then some people never consider themselves a senior. So, for purposes of this conversation, let's differentiate between, say, the boomer who is maybe recently an empty nester. Maybe they're looking at downsizing so that they can travel more because they want to have a little more fun lifestyle, that kind of thing, versus someone who is a senior who is needing to move or is finding it maybe medically necessary or physically, mentally, all of those things. They really do need some more support in their life. And so there's really there's two very distinguishing factors in the demographics. So one is it's a lifestyle move, and one is a need-based move. And so two different types. So we can talk about the boomers first if you want to. That
sounds perfect. Okay. So
you have probably experienced a lot of sales in your career where people have, they have a huge 2-story house, they don't need it anymore, and it's time to simplify things, right?
Right.
And I think, what I love about that type of move is those are fun. And, people typically, there's a little bit of an emotional attachment to their home, but not always. And, but they're kind of excited to move on to that next phase of their life. And so I would say that the most important thing for them to be thinking about is buying something that they can stay in for a while. That if it needs to be modified, it can. If they need to have an elder parent move in with them, and that's part of their, plans, then they need some accommodations for that. And so I think there are so many different reasons why people do what they do, right? An agent, people are talking with their agent, knowing that how you guys practice, knowing how I know you already do this. So I'm saying that if someone's meeting with an agent, to make sure that they lay out, here's my plan. Here are my goals going forward. Either, like Chris and I, for instance, we downsized into this condo. It's a 2-bedroom condo. We can literally lock up and leave and don't have to worry about our extra maintenance. It feels very safe for us to be able to do that, and it's awesome. However, it's also multi-level. So walk in on one level, you have to go down to the room and then up to the bedrooms and up one more level to the other set of bedrooms. It would not be ideal for us to have late in life. It just wouldn't. So, but that wasn't our intent. Our intent was only to be here for a few years. So I think everyone has behind what they do, and it's so important with your agent to lay that out so that your agent can help you to find that.
Very good. I think the sound was just starting to break up a little bit there towards the end. But it's interesting that it'd be a multi-level unit. We see that a lot here in Wichita. People that want to go into a condo situation, and it's multi-level, which is not the ideal situation. So
yeah. And I think more and more, Catherine, there's going to be builders out there, hopefully, that are looking at building single-family, maintenance exterior free. Maintenance free exterior. There we go. So that people can do that and don't have a multi-level. So
yeah, we just listed a house yesterday after this last blizzard because the homeowner decided that's it, that's enough with snow shoveling, and so that's exactly what she's looking for. And so we see that a lot, the lifestyle change and just getting away from the mowing and the gardening. It's like we've done that and we're done. So, well, let's talk about the other end of the spectrum, people that are moving for not just for a lifestyle change, but maybe needs-based or anticipating needs in the future.
Yeah. That's my favorite client, by the way. I absolutely love working with people who, and I guess, people say, well, why do you love that client? Because that's sometimes a sad situation when people are moving, not necessarily because they want to, but they know they need to. But here's what the great part about that is that no matter where you live, you can have the life that you want, really. And so a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to move to a senior community and I'm losing my independence. But the reality of that now is I get to share with them the really good news, which is there are so many options out there for people in the way of senior communities. Even assisted living communities used to be, people were a little concerned they were overly, they were more like a hospital, or that there was a lot of nursing care in them. But there are so many different varieties now of assisted living and independent living and CCRCs, continuing care retirement communities, that I want people to just know that their options have improved so much. Then when they go out and visit these communities, to know that it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. There are lots of options out there. So, and not everyone needs to live in congregate housing. Not everyone needs a senior community like independent living or assisted living. Some people will do just fine in a community where, like a South City, Del Webb type community, where it's a 55-acre, but everybody lives independently and they're on their own, and maybe they have resources that come into their home. So they have health, they have in-home care, non-medical in-home care, something like that. Those are always options too that I think people forget about. So.
Well, and some of those retirement communities are very exciting, where people get a whole new social aspect, and some of them are like self-contained cities with the hair salon and the bank and movie theater and all kinds of things going on.
Yep.
So I've visited quite a few of them to meet with clients, and they're very nice. And then we've helped a number of people maybe leave our city to go move closer to family. And it's quite a process for them to go through to kind of dismantle all their household goods, to select what they're going to keep and take with them, and what they're going to maybe sell in an estate sale. So there's so much to think about when it comes to that point and going through everything.
That's probably the number one reason people go through our trainings, Catherine, is that, that to have a full appreciation for that process. And so, think about being, let's just use an age, although age is typically not that relevant, but we'll just use an average age, because the average resident in an assisted living is 86. So somewhere in their early 80s to mid 80s, someone finds it necessary to move into assisted living. And here they have this house that they've lived in maybe, sometimes as long as 40, 50 years. And they have all their stuff. They have their kids' things, their grandkids' things. They have all of the memories that they've created in a whole lifetime in that home. And so parting with them, first of all, isn't a fast process for most people anyways.
Right.
Well, they're ready to do it, and they just, it's not that hard. But for the vast majority, it's not an easy process. So then, so emotionally you're able to decide to do it. Then there's the physical task of doing that. And literally, how do I handle getting rid of the things that I can't move and that need to be moved on? Fortunately, nowadays, when we first started working with seniors, there wasn't something called a senior move manager. And so we did that ourselves, literally, for our clients. And now agents, really, I encourage them to align themselves with an entire resource team. And one of those key people is a downsizing specialist or a senior move manager. Estate sale liquidators, elder law attorneys, financial planners. They probably want to have at least access to a nurse practitioner or a case manager in their area, geriatric management. And then that's in addition to all of your other real estate, providers. You can align yourself with someone other than yourself to go in and help that client begin to sort and organize and arrange things for the move. It's so much easier than one person can do it all. And Catherine, like with families, what I found is that if the agent is able to be the hub for that transaction and find resources for the family, it takes such a burden off the family. And you get to be a great hero, because the truth of the matter is the family is also emotionally caught up in this transaction. And there is a support for them it's a big deal. And I know you've seen that with clients that you've helped.
Definitely. And one other question that I had brought up that we might talk about is reverse mortgages. It seems that we're all bombarded with reverse mortgage advertising, especially like on the news, cable news channels. And it just makes me wonder how many seniors might be tempted to call and find out. And I know that reverse mortgages can be a smart option in some situations. But I'm concerned for so many people that might be taking action on this when maybe it's not the best type of loan for them to be looking at.
That's exactly right. And, it's hard to know if it's the right option or not for someone. And so I don't ever try to either persuade or dissuade someone either way without knowing their whole picture. And I know people who have used reverse mortgages, and it has been the perfect solution for them, and they needed it, and it worked out well for them. And I know other people who probably could have chosen a different option and had maybe saved some money and some hard decision making in the long run. But truth of the matter is it's just like any other tool, right? Especially when it comes to lending. You and I both know we've seen people take out loans and we go, oh, why did you do that, right? That was a nightmare loan to take out. But
Right.
the moment, it seemed like the right thing for them to do. And so they did it. And then they suffer consequences later. And a lot of people will say, I wish I hadn't done it. But then you have the people who say, I'm glad I did it, even though this was the outcome. And I think what I would encourage seniors and agents, too, for that matter, that are talking with people who have said something about reverse mortgages is to make sure that they have a trusted advisor involved in the conversation. Somebody who can be objective with them and know their full financial situation as well, and that they can trust. Maybe an adult child, maybe their financial planner, anybody that really kind of help guide them making that decision. And, when the market shifted, Catherine, a lot of people who'd taken out reverse mortgages prior to the market kind of declining. In that moment, it seemed like a good thing. When the value of their house went down and changed, but none of us could have projected that, so
Right.
they made a decision based on the knowledge they had at the moment. And unfortunately, so did a lot of
Exactly.
unrelated to reverse mortgages.
Right. Anything else that you can think of to maybe encourage people that are thinking about making a lifestyle change or looking at, maybe going through all their household things and really making a big move? Anything that you would share with them?
Well, I think there's two things that made me think of when you asked that question. One is the remodeling process. And so many people will call a contractor out and they'll have them say remodel a bathroom or remodel a kitchen for accessibility. And that's awesome, and I'm all for that. I think that's great. But I would highly, highly recommend that people consult with their agent first and make sure that the modifications they're making to their home are going to be beneficial in the long run. And I know, when people say they're going to stay in their home forever, they really mean that. But if something happens and they do have to make that change, I would rather them be able to get, the most out of their home. So I've seen houses, and I'm sure you have too. They've been remodeled beautifully, fully accessible, and they're lovely. And then I've seen homes that are fully remodeled and accessible and not as lovely.
Right. Well, what we've seen is people that spend $10,000 on one of those bathtub units that they can walk in and close the door, and they really enjoyed it while they were there. But then when it comes time for resale, it'd be perfect if just the right person came along. But unfortunately, that person never seems to just happen by, and it can be very limiting in resale.
Well, I think that's good. That's good information people need to know. So let's say that couple or whoever that person was had called you in advance, and said, hey, this is what we're going to do. Help us to know what's going to happen if we decide to sell the house. And you could have probably said to them, you know what, if this is the best solution for you, then absolutely do it. Just know that when it comes time to sell it, in order to get the most for your house in the quickest amount of time, we're going to need to probably go back in with a traditional shower or bathtub.
Right. And that's probably about the best option, because you do have to live there and make it your own home and make it work for you. But it's just not that, it's just to know that there isn't just that one person out there that's likely to come along, that we have to have a big buyer pool when we go out for resale.
Right. So, yeah, it can affect the sale for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and a young teenager isn't going to maybe go for that tub in their bathroom.
Right. Exactly.
Well, Nikki, this was fun. I really appreciate your willingness to get together with me today via Skype and do this interview, and appreciate your expertise. And if people want to know more about how to get in touch with you about your designation or anything else, how do they do that?
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from them. Our website is seniorsrealestateinstitute.com. And they can also email us at info@seniorsrealestateinstitute.com. And we're actually going to be we're going to be in St. Louis next week and toward the end of the month as well. And we're also going to be coming up to Kansas City, which is how far from you guys is Kansas City?
Just 3 hours.
Yeah, really close. So maybe we can come to Wichita. If you guys have somebody there that wants to host the event, I'd love to come up and see you. When it's warmer, by the way.
Yes. That might be better.
Awesome. Very good.
So, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, Nikki.
All right. Thanks, Catherine. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.